Right, so let's make sure everybody's working well in the classroom. When you come here, pretty much now that we're getting our feet under us, as long as you've gone through the videos on the home page, you're pretty much always going to go straight to modules. And I will be opening up the modules as we go. As you can barely see, these are closed until I've got their dates updated and I've cleaned up the pages. So for those of you, if you go down to the bottom, oh, that's on the syllabus page, isn't it? These dates that are set in 2014, just to clarify, nothing is due in a previous semester. I'll open these up as we go. As you make your way through, I'll always try to have instruction in the top of the module, like week 2 assignments. So when you start at the top, you make your way down. This little icon says it's a content page. I've put content onto the web. This little dialog bubble means that it's a discussion thread. And that's where you're going to earn your discussion points. The little Q in a circle means it's a quiz. And in Module 1, we have not only the simple syllabus quiz, but we also have the intro lecture on George Brandon and Yoruba Roots quiz. So there's your 30 points, 10, 20, 30 possible this week. Let's look at the Brandon lecture. Why are we reading Brandon? Why are we reading about the old religion if what we're going to do is launch through the African diaspora, through the slave trade, into the Caribbean, into Brazil, into the Black church in the South? It's because Brandon helps us make a massive shift in our modern Western brains into what is, I think, and many of you have already entered the discussion thread well, a fairly intuitive, alternative academic approach to how do you think about and understand the religions of the African diaspora. We go to the roots, and it's not just because he's telling us about old Africa. It is because his shift in how will you think about religion is the shift we need to make. The sooner we make it, the better will this material go. So let's just take a few steps with him, and I want to show you why he's so helpful. That it's not a revealed religion. It is not that the angel Gabriel talked to Muhammad and gave him word per word the Quran. That's revealed religion. But rather, if you think about these communities all across Africa, this is a very kind of anthropological or sociological understanding of how humans make meaning together. That across all of these different communities, we are finding a similar work has been accomplished in all of those communities that gradually built up a coherent orientation toward the facts of human existence. You take a group of people and they will build a coherent orientation among themselves towards the facts of human existence. That's the kind of religious tradition we are talking about. It's not opened in a book, and it did not have a pope that sanctioned who did and who did not accurately represent spiritual authority. This is grassroots, pragmatic orientation. These continuing processes of accumulation, renewal, every time a baby is born into a community, a question about the meaning of new life in the community is raised. So every time there's a harvest, every time there's a winter, there are renewals that are happening whereby the human community is establishing a coherent orientation towards the facts of existence. There's discarding. Somebody tells you that this cup of tea is going to make you better, and you take that cup of tea for 2 years, it never makes you better. You quit taking the cup of tea and you quit listening to them. There's discarding. There's modification. Yeah, that cup of tea with a shot of whiskey. I like that even better. I get better faster. Right? This is pragmatic, on the ground work to build an orientation through which you grow stronger. Borrowing, you marry into another community, and now you've got ideas, rituals, practices that you find are really interesting there. Maybe you bring some of that back to your community. So, not subjected to uniform or orthodox systematization. The point was not to clerically adjudicate who's right and wrong. Rather, it's about what's working. And this means that you expect there to be different things happening in different communities. A Crow in one community, their name means prayer in Somalia, because the Crow is understood to be one of those links between you and the Creator's power. And so the word for crow, prayer, means that for that group of people, crows have actually been understood as important windows. Whereas in another community, crows might be target practice. So it's not going to be the same across these things, because there's that pragmatic history of what has impacted us and makes sense to us as a powerful and effective way to harness the ashé, the earth's energy. All right, so the idea that the African religion is not isolable, it's not located in one church building on Sunday. It is permeating culture. A lot of you already get that. We're not looking at a body of beliefs, doctrines, and rituals. The ongoing manifestation of a basic attitude toward life, which is expressed in a variety of ways and a variety of contexts, and we are going to learn those variety of ways and contexts in each of the communities that we go to look to. Now, I want to emphasize this materiality stuff, and the reason I'm saying burst the bubble of belief, let it run down through the muscle memory of a socialized body that learns what is right, what is wrong, which differences must be negotiated carefully because they have the power of ashé in them. When he's describing the places of worship, this is going to be key, because we are going to be studying a group of people who are taken from their places of worship, right? They have been violently uprooted from the temples in which their ancestors communicated with them. We are going to see altars within houses. We are going to watch a little video of a Santera in New York City who makes her altar in her house. The place of worship is not as important as your intimate connection with the material objects that you would place on that altar, through which you now have that window, that access to ashé. That the materiality of worship, again, a rock, and we will see with the spirit possession that one will actually bathe and take care of a rock as a metaphor for what is happening in one's own head, the seat where the orisha will come to sit. So we've got brains, we've got rocks, we've got altars. You need to be able to understand the materiality of ashé present in the material world. If you're still stuck back in belief, doctrine and belief, then you're thinking perhaps these people are crazy. They're thinking if you wash the rock, you're making it ready as a metaphor for your own brain. If you understand materiality itself as part of the religious life, then this stuff is not surprising. This is as viable an access to the Creator's power as any prayer could be. So, I argue in here that we are dealing with traditions where the meaning of matter is different. So if in the old African religion, the meaning of matter was different, you could concentrate a bowl to be the home of an orisha. When we understand that matter itself is understood to house ashé, the divine power, and then you think about a people who, through the violence of the slave trade, is left with nothing but their very own body. That's how much materiality you have a relationship to in an enslaved situation. You are now property. You have been reduced on the social landscape yourself to object status. Where do you think the divine is going to be found in this religion? It is going to be found in that body. That's part of what we are going to see, is that an enslaved people manages to transform the one piece of materiality they have with which to work. They don't even own it. They're not even in control of it. Yet they figure out the technology in the community to transform the one bit of matter they have left, secretly most of the time, in order to experience a connection to the divine. Very interesting. It was the empowered objects that were important, not the physical structure of the buildings or even the existence of one. Think about how that translates through the slave trade into the power of the body. I better stop there. I hope that opens you up a little bit to Brandon, my take on Brandon. I've highlighted in green here some of the most important ideas. I think we've covered them. The ability to carry out ritual gives them an awesome responsibility, humans, because it is unique. Only humans can carry out ritual on behalf of all other beings. And in the case of the enslaved person, the humans, having been stripped of their responsibilities, of their humanity, of their dignity, the one thing they have left is the technology of ritual to try and create a moral universe in which their place in a moral universe is valuable. Really interesting. Looking forward to it.